Okay, so this is another edition of our ramble for the newsletter, and today we've been lucky enough to get Tony Bosto to join us. Tony is a long-term player for Brothers, and I'm sure most people in the club will remember his attributes as a footballer. Tony, one of the things I think most of the people at the moment would be keen to know about is your recovery, mate, from your accident. What can you tell us about that?
I'm doing very well, Greg. Most recent stress test was excellent. So I was chuffed. If I was playing football, I'd be in top condition, I think. And of course, Mick Woods is taking care of me, which is a great connection. It goes back a long way with our clubs, especially that year we won the premiership. And Mick was our Zambuck then, and he's still doing it now, although 45 years later. It's uncanny.
It is, mate. The accident was in Kyogle, mate, eh? What happened?
Yeah, I can't recall. I blacked out. I had a coronary arrest and went through the Catholic school fence, did the length of the oval diagonally, and was just about to plough out the other fence and hit a picnic stanchion that pulled the car up. I was going 100 kilometres an hour, and it was just lucky I didn't hit a kid, because that would have been devastating.
Yeah, mate, my word. So you were lucky to get out of the accident itself pretty quick?
Well, it was a miracle. The woman that pulled me out had been practicing CPR for 40 years, and I was the first one she actually had to apply it to, and she only got through the fence in time because I damaged it enough to leave an opening. And so she got through, so she's gold to me. I mean, she brought me back to life, and the rest is, here I am.
Yeah, so you went from there up to the coast, mate, did you?
They flew me straight to the intensive care at Southport, and I was in a coma for a week or so, and then came out and did some rehab at Ballina, and within 2 months I was home, and I'm in my rehab now.
Yeah, that's really good recovery, mate. And so you're going to see Woodsy each week there?
Yeah, he's got me on a program, and he is a phenomenal facility, really. I mean, what he doesn't know is not worth knowing, because he gets me on the treadmill and gets my heart rate up. And as I said, I had a stress test with my cardiac surgeon, and he said, he's tested me at the highest level. He said there's no damage at all. So I'm very, very lucky.
That's a really good outcome then, mate, eh?
Oh, top.
Yeah. So, mate, how did you actually end up coming to Brothers?
We were surfing. I'd given away football completely when I was 17, and then when I was 19, we were surfing up the coast, and our friend Jack Maloney was playing with Brothers, and they were in the grand final. We thought, oh well, we'll go up and watch the game, and I was with Bruce Maney, Bill Maney's brother, and Bruce decided that I was going to play for Brothers, and we were driving down the hill from Archer's place. John Archibald, they bought Archer off Woy too, and we're driving down the hill, and Bruce said, pull over to the guy driving. He said, here's the plan. You'll play for Brothers, I'll play for Woden Valley, and we'll both surf Raglan at the end of the year, and I'll teach you to drive. And I thought, that's a good plan. Well, sure enough, and he said, when we get there, you shut up, let me do the talking. So he spent time in Dudley Lovett's ear, and I think one of the McRae's, I'm not sure. But anyway, he facilitated my move to Brothers.
And what year was that, Tony? So
that was 70. Well, that was September 73. So I played in 74, and that was the start of a 7-year run with brothers.
Yeah, that's great, mate. So you would have played in the grand final the year Doug Page coached?
No, I didn't. I missed that. That's what we came up to watch.
Oh, okay.
The grand final, they got beaten.
Yeah, yep.
And of course, we didn't get to a grand final till 9 years later, Greg, or 7 years later, Greg, and that was when you were coaching.
Yeah, mate. Oh, well, we were so lucky to have you then. So, who was the coaches during that period that you were at Brothers?
Well, there was Pagey to start with, and then John Archibald, bless you, Arch. And then was it Desi Kelly, and then Kenny Orr, and then yourself, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't left anyone, have I?
No, I think that's about how it went, mate. Yeah. So, you had a pretty good reputation as a footballer, mate. What was your sort of rep career like during those years?
Well, I got to, well, as a junior, I represented New South Wales a couple of years against New Guinea, and that was going to be the be all and end all. And then I ended up with Brothers and represented the group for a couple of years. And they were good days. I mean, you had Chicka Ferguson running around, Bunny Ferguson, the Cleel brothers. There was some quality players in the comps, and against Group 18, it was always, pretty hard. And I like telling the story of the year we beat them up there when Timmy Little was playing, and Tim was an old Brothers boy, as you know, and it wasn't until after the game when they realised that Tim was young enough to play in the under-18s. But he gave them hell, and we knocked them over up there, which was against the grain. It really was.
And mate, you won the Group 1 Player of the Year one year too, didn't you?
Yeah, I got that in 75, which is ironic. 45 years ago this year. Where's the time gone? we don't look any different.
Hey, we both look the same, pretty grey.
Yeah.
So, mate, during those years that you played with Brothers, halfback and fullback, any other positions?
No, they were the two, and I think it was ironic ending up at fullback. I mean, I'd end up at fullback at Woy Woy, and I ended up at fullback at Morris Brothers, and that was a great way to finish your career, actually.
My word, last game to win a premiership, so way to go
yeah,
out.
Oh yeah, well I couldn't have given up otherwise. I'd still be there.
What would you say would be your great strengths as a player?
I don't know. I think I started out with a good defence and ended up really having a reasonable set of hands for catching the ball at fullback. I mean, yeah, that's about it.
Tony, I thought your ability to anticipate play was really good. Like you always took the bombs at full pace.
Well, yeah, and that was fortunate, wasn't it, in the grand final, because two stuck there that made a difference. And normally you do that and they don't, but it was our turn, Greg, wasn't it? I remember the day I looked at Bardo and Cole Clark, and once I looked at them, I thought, we can't lose this. They're ready to go.
So there was a lot of players you would have played with during those years at Brothers. Who would you say the fellas that sort of stick strongly in your memory?
Well, Tommy Sivrite sticks out because of his club stewardship. He's a stalwart. Tommy, and then the Leeson brothers. A lot of the college boys when we were coming through were important because I was going to college with them too. um, Jack Wills, Bud Wills.
Those are the years that you're at Brothers.
Yeah.
Where did the club sort of drink and socialise those days?
Well, initially it was a Civic, and then, I mean, by the end of it, it was a Rouse, and then in between you had the Winsome when Ori had it, and I think we even had a time. What was the pub? Was it the Richmond?
No,
I'm not sure. It took
at the Commercial, I think it was called those days.
the Commercial.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they took turns in sponsoring the club, and that was very kind of the establishments to do that. But then again, Brothers always been a loyal club to their sponsors. Yeah, and I think they still are.
Very much so, mate. Tone, some of my early memories of you was you being such a great assistance to Timmy Little. How did your friendship with that all sort of originate?
Well, that was in November 27th, 1975. I was waiting for Tim outside the college, and his girlfriend ran towards me. She was delirious. And of course, what had set her off was the fact that he'd just fallen from the balcony and he broke his neck. So I rushed over and I said, "Don't move, mate. You've done your collarbone by the look of it." He said, "I can't move. It's my neck." And he never moved again. And they gave him 5 years to live, but you know, he lasted 33. He was a dogged fellow, and he never gave up. But it certainly changed my life because we had a close association, and my eldest daughter ended up nursing him for years, and they ended up very close too.
That's a great story, mate. And you've sort of carried that on into your working life, haven't you?
I was a homeschool liaison officer. And we'd have our, job cut out getting kids back to school in marginal situations.
Obviously, your nature, though, would have worked well with those sort of kids.
Well, I think I was built for it, Greg. I mean, I think part of my coming up, my pathway in life was I was thrown a lifeline by Brothers. Education-wise, I wouldn't have graduated to teaching if it wasn't for Brothers.
How did that come about, mate?
Well, it was the one bit of paper I should have kept. I got a telegram. As I said, Bruce and I we played our year of football and went surfing. And I got a telegram when I was in New Zealand from Father Burns. And it said, "Have enrolled you for HSC, bring football boots." And that was the start of a lovely union between myself and Brothers. And they fostered me through my HSC year, and then they supported me through my teaching years. So I have a lot to thank them for.
Yeah, that's a great story, Tone. Do you get the opportunity to get to much of the football nowadays, mate?
Well, since I've been getting the old boys' emails, we're gearing up for that, and then this coronavirus came through and it put a stop to it. But I was with Binner. I'm doing rehab with Binner of all people, and he's on my case, so don't worry, we'll get there. Binner, Bardo and Boston will be back.
That'll bring the crowds back. So what are you sort of hoping we can gain out of our old boys group?
Well, I think keeping the connection's the main thing.
It's the sort of thing, mate, I reckon like we should be having our 40th year anniversary this year for that 1980 grand final. And
yeah. Is it this year?
Yeah,
45, is it?
40, 1980, 2000.
1980, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think the old boys would be a sort of like allow us to facilitate those sort of things more easily, having contacts with everyone.
Yeah, well, with this medium, I mean, it's at everyone's fingertips now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, that's great, Tony. I'm glad to hear you're going well. You've got over the accident, mate, and it's great to reminisce with you of some of those times that you've been at Brothers and realise how much you appreciate what the club did for you.
Well, I always will, Greg. I mean, it was a godsend at the start, and it's great to have the connection as time moves on.
Okay, mate. Thanks very much, Tony. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
See you, Greg.
Good on you, mate. Bye-bye.